Oops, sorry guys, that was probably really loud. I didn't realize if I switched my scenes on stream, it was going to play all those alerts at the same time. Looks like Bitcoin's pulling back a little bit. How's Microsoft doing? Microsoft finally topped out at 308.20. As long as this closes above like 305, it's pretty strong. How's AMD doing? AMD also looking pretty good. I'd say AMD has to close above like 114, and it looks pretty good. Black, all you have to do is remove it from your chart and then put it back on. Well, sometimes you have to remove it and then save the layout. So like click the save button up here. Then close it, reopen it, and then re-add it. TradingView is a little weird. But there was nothing fundamentally changed about the indicator. The bot is still the same. The only thing that changed on the launch version was the stop loss and the support and resistance are turned off by default. I think that's, oh no, and then I made it version 5. So PineScript had version 4, then they came out with version 5, so I updated it to version 5, which I think makes it run a little smoother, but that's about it. What's going on, Rex? Yeah, we filled that gap, actually. We filled the 447 gap on SPY. This gap right here got filled, but it filled it to the penny, and that's high day right now, so it's not looking too bullish, failing that pivot, failing that gap to the penny. The candle is definitely bullish, but not being able to find any buyers above that gap is a little worrying. You can see, like, if I zoom in here, look at the 30-minute. We just topped out completely. It's been nothing but dojis since like 11:30. I did not see Neo today. What's it doing? Let's see. Oh yeah, nice day, up 5%. It's funny, a lot of charts look like this that had like buy signals right before the end of the day on Friday, and they just ripped all day. A really nice daily buy, to be honest. Daily buy and then confirmation immediately. I think the best place today on the bot was Microsoft and AMD. I called both those out this morning. Really good moves on both. Once Microsoft broke 305, which we liked because the 30-minute had a beautiful flat top right on the opening session. And then as soon as he broke that flat top, it was just straight up. And then AMD, I think it was pretty much the same on AMD. No, AMD was just pretty bullish. You had a 5-minute buy signal right on the open, and then you basically just trended higher the entire day. It had a really nice daily candle once you started to break the high of Friday, and then you broke the high in August. So now we're heading towards that resistance level around 118. Get above that, your all-time high. I think that's all-time high, right? Unless you had like a .com bubble. No, that's all-time high. Some tech stocks you got to watch out because they went so high on the .com bubble that they're nowhere near all-time high. This has been in a monthly buy signal since June of 2018. So it's pretty bullish. And that's only if you include this little fake out sell. If you don't include that, it's been in a buy since April 16. So very, very bullish long term. Hey, Mortal, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's been a long time, man. It's been in beta for what we launched the beta in April, excuse me. So we were doing a lot of testing before it went into beta, and then I made it public for you guys to help me out testing it. And then we launched the beta in April. So it's been about 7 months of beta testing. And we finally fixed all the bugs. It's right where I want it to be, obviously. Yeah, FCell is the third biggest volume mover of the day. Had a really nice buy signal pushing it higher here. You're breaking out of the range, breaking a couple of resistance levels. Long term, you're looking for that gap fill around like 11.25. And then Prague. No, Prague is my number one. So highest volume on FCell is 140 million shares today. Prague did 283. Here's Prague. Prague up 37%. Been in a buy signal for quite some time. And then the second biggest is ADMP, which gapped up pretty hard, but then we're starting to nuke now. They traded 141 million shares. Sorry, I'm talking about shares, not call volume. Yeah, call volume, they are the biggest, 415,000. CCJ showing 210. Apple had a weekly buy signal, did it? Let's see. I know you had a daily buy signal yesterday. You don't have a weekly yet. No weekly yet. Unless you're talking about the OTS. Let's see. Sorry, that shift from the dark to the light might hurt your eyes. Oh yeah, these are clean. These are like really good buy signals too, because it's forming a fractal. So you have like a low, lower low, and then a higher low, right? That's a fractal. So we actually have a 5 candle fractal here, which is a very bullish reversal. Very similar to, I think it was, yeah, the ES weekly. ES weekly is also a 5 candle fractal. So you have the low, oops. You have the low, lower low, higher low, and then higher lows on these sides too. So you have a 5 candle fractal with the buy the dip signals. Very clean. Yeah, Qs as well. The weeklies, man, I'm telling you, the weeklies and the monthlies are lining up to be very bullish. Going into November, too. November is historically the most bullish month of the year. Netflix breaking out here. Let's actually go back to my other chart. Netflix with a little breakout here. We were talking about this in Discord, how it had a 30-minute flat top. So those 30-minute flat tops trying to break out. You need to get above like 640, 637, I'd say, the lowest. They have earnings today, do they? FX, you asked, will I be using the bot or continue with my current strategy? I've been doing both for quite some time, and I plan to continue to do both. I've been mainly using the bot for crypto. I haven't been using the bot a whole lot on equities. I've been looking at it as like a confluence, but I'm not blindly following it on equities. For equities, I'm mainly sticking to my like volume profile, OTS, Momo. But here, guard your eyes for a second. I'm gonna go back to my white chart. But I always had the bot pulled up right here. And before I took any like long-term trades or any trades based off like the daily chart, I would always go and look at what the bot was showing me. Because that's what the bot is best on, the daily and the weekly, right? So like a good example is like when I took that MGM trade, I went to go look at the bot and I was like, okay, we're in a buy signal. We have a little bit of a consolidation. And then one thing with the bot is when you put in take profits, it's because there's like a resistance forming right here, right? So I know that if we break the take profit, it's going to be a nice continuation. So we took that MGM trade, we broke the take profit, and then we started to rip. So that's kind of how I use it in my everyday trading. I don't have it set up on full automation on crypto yet. I plan on setting that up very shortly. I tried to set it up a month or two ago with Alertatron. That's who I normally use for automation. And for some reason, my account was like all screwed up. It wouldn't let me log in. It wouldn't let me reset my password. I had to contact their support. So once I have that all sorted, I'm going to have it set up for full automation on Bitcoin and Ethereum. But yeah, that's the big thing about the bot is I've been saying this since we've been beta testing it. Excuse me. When you are trading, and even if you don't want to fully automate the bot, it is a very good tool for confluence. So like if you pull the bot up on like the daily or the weekly, and it shows you like you're in a buy signal or a sell signal, that gives you confidence in your trade, right? Like it helps you follow the trend for sure. I have a lot of different strategies for Bitcoin, so I can't really give you a straight answer on that. But our recent trade on Bitcoin was very simple. We were trading a retest of support based on a volume profile level, and we basically bought the low around 35.6, and then we laid out some levels above us that we were going to use as targets. Pretty much every single one of those levels was a volume profile level with some pivots thrown in as well. So we used those levels to get out of our trade. That was a pretty long trade too. That was I think like 2 or 3 weeks. One of our longest trades we've had in a while. Hey TK, what's going on? What's going on, Chad? You said thoughts on URG? Let's see. Daily looks pretty bullish here, to be honest. Oh, this is the weekly. How does the daily look? Yeah, daily's pretty good. You're failing resistance though. This little wick right here is not good. If you can close above resistance above $2, which you're probably not going to do today, but if you closed above 2, it looks a lot better. I like the weekly breaking out here. If the weekly can hold above 190 to $2, it looks pretty good. You're kind of failing that same area that you failed in 2014, which is also the IPO. You see that? So like the IPO here in 2008 and the 2014 high and where we are currently are all the same level. So that's a little worrying. It seems to really not like the $2 area, which for a penny stock is a very big level. Penny stocks trade the most volume around the whole dollars. So like $1, $2, $3, and the half dollars. So 250, 350, etc., right? So this $2 area right here is clearly a strong resistance. Take a look at AMD on the 4-hour bot. Let's take a look. Or 4-hour chart, you said. Let's see. You said with extended hours on. Let me see. Extended. 4-hour buy signal plus trend break equals multi-day breakout. Yeah, exactly. I see what you're saying. AMD was a little choppy here for a while, so it wasn't giving you those very strong trend signals like it did back here. But this trend is really nice. So these take profits, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. When you have a take profit, the take profits are always based on the support and resistance levels. And what it basically does is it tells you, hey, there's a support coming in and we're not breaking it. Or there's a resistance coming in and we're not breaking it. So the bot is like, okay, if we're not breaking resistance, I should probably take profit. It doesn't mean close your trade completely. It just means, hey, I should probably take some off the table. But there is another side to that. Because it was a strong resistance point, once that is broken, that could lead to a very strong move in that direction, right? So, like if you have a strong red take profit and then you break downward, that could be a very good continuation move to the downside. Or if you have a strong green take profit and then you break it like this, that could be a strong continuation to the upside. Notice how when this one broke, it ripped higher, and then when this one broke, it ripped higher. That's why the bot is staying in the buy signal. It's just taking little bits off the table. The bot doesn't lose the trend until it flips the signal. Funny enough, there are no take profits here on real time, only on extended. Yeah, weekends are a little rough FX for crypto trading. I try not to trade too much on weekends. I couldn't tell you the last time I traded on weekends, to be honest, on crypto. I used to scalp a lot. I think like me and Sticky back in the day used to do some scalping on the weekends. But recently we have not. Jay, I think you're getting confused with the bot. I think you're fine, Jay. If it says 2 on the bot, that is not actually like trading bot 2. It's just saying 2 because that's the take profit sensitivity. It's an indicator value. It's not an actual version. 4-hour is really good on the bot, especially on crypto. On stocks, it's a little iffy on some stocks because it gives you a lot of gaps. Because, well, it depends on the stock, right? If the stock gives you a lot of gaps, it's a little iffy. That's why the bot, for the most part, it works a lot better on crypto than it does on stocks because there are very little gaps. So, what do gaps do, right? Gaps cause a lot of chop, right? Because most of the time the gaps are in the opposing direction. They are not in the same direction as the trend. So gaps for the most part cause a lot of chop, and the bot doesn't like chop. So when you're trading altcoins, there are no gaps for the most part. Like 99% of the time, there are no gaps. So the bot does very well on altcoins. You see how much smoother this is? Like, look at how smooth these signals are until you get to like that choppiness right there. You had a few choppy signals back here, then these are just completely smooth. Because altcoins love to trend, right? The altcoins are very trendy. Yeah, crypto. So the bot is designed for daily, weekly. Anything over a daily, 3-day, weekly, whatever. You could even do 2-day. It doesn't matter. Anything over a daily is typically where most trends are going to be found. You can use the 4-hour on altcoins and on stocks. The 4-hour is pretty trendy as well. But the strike rate is going to go down. So what we found throughout all of our back testing, and we've back tested this thing for close to a year, it basically has a 70% or higher strike rate from the daily going to the weekly or higher. But once you go down to the 4-hour, the strike rate starts to dramatically go down because the charts are much choppier. And it depends on the asset. Some assets are really trendy, so they're going to have higher strike rates. But yeah, like in our back testing, we found that most 4-hours were dropping down to 60% strike rate, which is still not bad. And then once you drop down to like the 1-hour, it would go down to like a 50% strike rate, and so on, right? And the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15-minute, they were very hard to get exact win rates because some assets were doing very well. Like some assets would have like over 70%, and then some assets would have like 30%. So it was very hard to find a good overall win rate for the low time frames. And that's just because low time frames are very rangy and they're different for every asset. So what I recommend on the bot is high time frames, trending assets, so mainly like indexes, for example, SPY and Qs, ES, NASDAQ, basically any futures contract. The futures are typically very trendy. I'm not a forex trader, but we did have multiple people back testing it on forex during the beta, and they said it worked very well on forex. And typically on forex, you are going to be using higher time frames. So, long story short, it's best to use high time frames. You can still use low time frames, but you have to use a lot more user discretion. You have to put in a lot more confluence. I would recommend using more indicators. So like in our tips and trick video, I talk about how to use the waterfall technique. I talk about how to throw in like moving averages, how to throw in the OTS, how to throw in the Momo, stuff like that. How do you get access to the bot? Let me grab you a link. Sorry to black my screen out for a second. We are having a early bird special that's going to go on until Wednesday, so the first 48 hours of our bot release. The special is for 50% off your first month or your first year. We have monthly and yearly. The code is early bird in all caps. If you go to that page, you can watch a short little video on how to set the bot up. If you scroll down, you can see some performance backtest. So I show the last 10 signals from S&P 500 on the daily and weekly, and Bitcoin on the daily and weekly. You can also see a bunch of testimonials from our beta testers as well. Yeah, we had some guys when I very first gave the bot to the Discord and I asked them to test it out for me. Most of them were trading like the 1 minute chart. The majority of them were scalping with it, and they were doing pretty well for some time. I did tell them, like, this bot is not a scalping bot. It's not made for scalping. You can use it for scalping. It's just not designed for that. It's designed to be a trend bot. So when you use it for scalping, you have to use a lot of discretion. Meaning you want to look at other indicators, make sure they're all lining up, look at volume, whatever suits your style. But don't just blindly follow the buy and sell signals on a 1 minute chart. It's not going to give you the best results. But if you guys have access to the bot, you're more than welcome to do some backtests on your own. Like I said, look at the daily, weekly, monthly, any high time frames on any asset. There hasn't been like a single asset that I've looked at that had a very bad win rate on the high time frames. But as always, I'm open to feedback. So if you guys have any feedback, let me know. Yeah, Rusty, you can get some pretty big moves on the weekends for crypto for sure. It's definitely a reckless time to trade. That's not a bad play, FX. When you're trading altcoins, just take your profit, throw it in Bitcoin, and kind of ride the Bitcoin wave. To go back to your question about the bot on crypto, what I liked a lot when I was testing it very heavily on crypto is using the 1 hours. Let me see if I can find some examples. Using the 1 hour as like a warning sign. So like here's the 4 hour, here's the daily. Let's go to the 1 hour here. So like where did that big move start? That might be too far to go back, but I'll try. It started on October 1st. Let me see if I can go back that far. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so what I liked about crypto is using the 1 hour as a warning. So like right here, you can see the 1 hour got into a buy around 42,000. And the daily didn't hit a buy until like 45 to 48,000. So the 1 hour gave you a very good warning that this was starting to push into an uptrend. So what I would like to do is the 1 hour would give a signal. I'd wait to see if it gave a 4 hour signal afterwards, which this one did. And then you would wait to see if the daily came in. Like you could take the 1 hour, you could take the 4 hour. That's just being a little more aggressive, right? But then once the 4 hour comes in, and then you have confirmation on the daily, that your trend is completely shifted, right? So the 1 hour was like the first warning that your trend is starting to shift. Then the 4 hour was like, okay, I really need to start paying attention. And then if you want to, you can use like the 8 hour and the 12 hour to fully confirm your trend shift. But then once it hits the daily, it's like, okay, we're ready to go. And that's what I call the waterfall technique. I talk about that in the tips and tricks video. A quick little recap of what that is. What I mean is using lower time frames to waterfall into higher time frames. So if you're in like like right now, we're in a very strong uptrend on Bitcoin, right? If you're a reversal trader, you want to be looking for a sell signal. You want to be looking for that top, right? The top or the sell signal is not going to come in very easily on the daily. It's going to have to lose the trend completely for that sell signal to come in. But you can use the lower time frames as like a warning of when you're topping out. So like if we go to the 1 hour here, let's go to like the 4 hour, and then let's go to like the 2 hour, then the 4 hour. So the 1 hour has already started to sell. So we have some sell signals here. So it's getting a little weak. The 4 hour, the 2 hour, let's see. The 2 hour also is starting to sell. So I call these the mid macros, the 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. These are the mid macros. The macros are like the daily, weekly, monthly. The mid macros are the hourlies. So the mid macros are already starting to shift into sell signals, meaning our midterm time frames are getting bearish. So that's the first warning for a top to be forming. Once the 4-hour triggers, which it looks like it's going to pretty soon because you've been topping out for so long. Once the 4-hour triggers a sell, then the daily is going to be in danger, right? It's going to be in danger. So like the 4-hour would trigger a sell. You could go to an 8-hour, then the 8-hour would trigger, then the 12-hour would trigger, then the daily would trigger. Okay. That's how the bot works. The bot will go throughout the time frames. It will waterfall. Another way you can use the waterfall technique is, let's take like this little pullback right here. Let's take this as an example. So when is that? It's like October 8th. October 8th. When do we break out? We break out on the 13th. Okay, so right here is a good example. So on the daily, it's going sideways, right? But you're still in a buy signal. So the trend is still strong. The daily is still in a buy. But then the 4-hour triggers a sell. So you're like, oh shit. It's like a warning, right? You're like, oh, maybe the daily is starting to get weak. Maybe the daily is going to shift into a sell signal. But the daily never shifts. And then the 4-hour goes back into a buy. So this is actually a pullback entry because the daily is staying in a buy. The 4-hour is shifting into a sell, which means it's getting weak, but then it shifts right back into a buy. So look at how quickly this shifts. This actually gives you a losing trade if you would have shorted. If you would have shorted here, you would have taken a small loss. But if you were waiting for this to trigger so you could go back into a long, you got a really good entry, right? And you could have did the same exact thing for like, say, the 1-hour during that range. But yeah, so that's a way you can use the multiple time frames to your advantage. This is how I recommend using the bot. If you guys have a higher tier TradingView subscription, if you have a Pro Plus or higher, you can use like 4 charts at a time. So I recommend pulling up the bot and using 4 different time frames. But as always, you want to pay attention to the high time frames for the most part. So the daily and the weekly should be your like number 1 time frame. And then you could use the other ones to give you like entries or pullback entries, reversal entries, stuff like that. And then if you're a scalper, you could do the same thing, like use like a 1 minute, use a 5 minute, use a 15 minute, and then maybe like an hour, right? But you want to be doing the same thing. So like if the hour is in a sell signal here, you notice how the hourly is in a sell signal and then it starts to pump, but we're still in a sell. So this is kind of a fake out here. So it's in a sell signal, it pumps, but we're still in a sell. So then once the 15 minute or the 5 minute or the 1 minute gave us sell signals, we could take these sell signals as an entry point for the short, as like a little scalp, right? So like this, how do I make it so that it syncs my drawings? Let me see. Drawings, here we go. Okay, so like right here is where we start to top out on the 1 hour. And then notice how we get a sell signal on the 5 minute and we get a sell signal. We get a bunch of sell signals actually on the 1 minute. So the 1 minute's a little too choppy here. So I probably would have ignored the 1 minute. It's just too rangy. But the sell signal on the 5 minute and the sell signal on the 15 minute were both very good. That's how you can kind of use multiple time frames to your advantage. Bot gave you good entries in the last few days. No problem, man. I'm happy that it's helping you out. Yeah, I have the Pro Plus. I have two accounts. I have the Pro Plus account, and then I have a premium account for my other account. The premium account is the one that I use for like the indicators, and I have a shit ton of alerts on there. I'm maxed out on their alerts. So that's the account I use for alerts. They actually just gave us a bunch more alerts though. If you're a Pro Plus member, it used to be maxed out at like 25 or something. Now it's 100. So they're actually being nice and giving us some more alerts. Hey, Rusty, that sounds good, man. We'll see you then. The Discord will still be around, man, so we're happy to help. There's a couple things that I have planned for future releases for the bot. If you guys were beta testing, we actually had little arrows that would come up when you're breaking the support or resistance, or if you're bouncing off of it. They just weren't doing exactly what I wanted, so I took them out. I'm gonna try to fix those eventually. Basically, what I want them to do is like how we have this flat resistance right here, and then we start to break out of it. I want that to give you a little signal, like give you a little arrow or something. Same thing for support. If we're like wicking below it and then bouncing, I want that to give you like a little arrow. But coding that's a little difficult, so we had to take that out. The other thing that we're working on is the stop loss. So right now, the stop loss comes in when the buy or sell is triggered, but then it never moves. So it does not trail at all. I'm going to design it to trail, or at least have a setting where you guys can make it trail if you want it to. It actually used to trail when we first designed it, but through some testing, it wasn't working very well. It had a couple of bugs. So that is like the next few things that we're hoping to get done pretty soon. All right, let's get back to some charts. I know a lot of you guys came here just for the charts, not for the bot. Mostly everything is pulling back or going sideways right now because they ran very heavily in the morning. Yeah, I haven't tried the alert on the anchored VWAP. So how do you even set that up? Let's see. You just like make an anchored VWAP and you can make an alert on it? Oh, you can. Okay. Nice. Yeah, we're actually breaking the anchored VWAP here from the all-time high. Notice how the anchored VWAP was holding us down the entire way. Failed, failed, and then we finally bounced off of it. There's a really clean anchored VWAP on Coinbase. If you take the anchored VWAP from the IPO or the all-time high, we're finally breaking it for the first time, and we actually came back to retest it today and then bounced off of it. That's probably one of my favorite anchored VWAPs right now is the Coinbase one. There we go. Nice little bounce on MGM. 5-minute breaking out. The only dislikes I get FX are usually from bots. They're not real people. Unless it's like a basement dweller, but those people aren't real people anyway. Yeah, Rusty. I had a long period in my like scalping career with crypto, where I was getting stopped out constantly because of those nasty BART patterns or swing failures, and I realized where my stop losses were. I needed to start entering my trade. So like I'd be like, oh, this looks like a good entry. I'd be like, okay, wait a second, we're gonna get stopped out. Where would I put my stop loss? So then I was like, okay, I'd put my stop loss below this low down here, maybe go for a liquidity grab. And then I would put my limits down there. And then my limits would get filled, and I'd be like, holy shit, this is the easiest the easiest trade of my life. Because it would get filled and then you'd instantly be up like 10%. But yeah, if you find a time where a certain crypto coin or Bitcoin itself is constantly giving you swing failures or going like stop hunting, when you're about to enter a trade, just ask yourself, where would I put my stop loss? And instead of entering, put your entry where your stop loss would be. It's not going to work all the time. Obviously, you're going to miss some trades, but when it works, it almost is a winning trade every time. It's like an easy winning trade. You get filled, it goes back the direction it was already going, and you're already up 5-10%. I think it was 2018 or 2019. You literally could do nothing but that for like 3 months. It was like September, October, November was just BART pattern, BART pattern, BART pattern every single day. So you just put your stop loss, or sorry, you put your entry where your stop loss would be, and you're good to go. How's the bot doing in forex? I back tested it very basically on the top pairs like USD, JPY, Euro USD, and it had the same strike rate on the high time frames as it did on the other indexes, around high 60s to low 70s percent win rate. I didn't heavily test forex because I'm not a forex trader, but we did have some people testing forex during the beta, and they said it worked very well. So I took their word for it. I'm waiting on MGM to break out of this micro pullback. You've been in a micro pullback for 4 days. How's oil doing today? Actually down 0.75. So you see how strong of a trend oil's in right now? So like if we were watching oil, we'd want to pay attention to like the 4 hour or like say the 2 hour, 1 hour, so we can get some warnings for when this is topping out. So notice how the 4 hour is already starting to sell. So we're getting a little toppy here. For now, that sell is very weak because we're still maintaining this kind of uptrend here. But if it breaks the uptrend and the sell is still strong, the sell is still in, then that's a problem. Because then it will start going on to the higher time frames. Looking a little toppy on the daily here. You guys see CAR today up another 5%. Stock is ridiculous. Thing's going to be 200 by the end of the year if it keeps up. How's big tech doing? I know Facebook was looking really good. Yeah, Facebook's starting to climb here. 5-minute buy signal. 15 minutes still holding the same buy. 30 minutes still holding. Looking good. Breaking resistance too. Yeah, Apple's looking good. Microsoft, a little bit of a pullback. Still maintaining though. Netflix has a very flat top here. If you take the wicks. Take all these wicks right here. Nice little flat top, kind of around 639. We're starting to break out. Look at that 5-minute breakout, 15-minute breaking out. 30-minute needs to break above like 639. Daily buy on Amazon still getting confirmed here. Nice little 1% day. 30-minute holding strong. Little fake out on the 5-minute, but looks pretty strong still. Tesla daily buy still holding. 15 minutes still holding. So is the 30-minute. Very bullish on Tesla. You have earnings coming up on all these names pretty soon. Keep an eye on PayPal. You're breaking the downtrend, and you have a daily buy here. The daily buy is a little weak. You have a little doji. I'd rather see like an engulfing candle for a daily buy. But we have nice confirmation today. So if you can stay above this range, this looks pretty good. Keep an eye on that. Little wiki here on the 30-minute ES, getting a little toppy. DocuSign running a little bit. Let's take a look. Yeah, 30 minutes strong here, 5 minutes strong. Daily not looking too bad. See, this is what I was talking about here. When you have the daily buys that are like dojis, they could be fake outs, so you gotta watch out for those. This one's still maintaining. How's the weekly on this? Weekly still in a sell. If the weekly can flip into a buy here, this looks pretty good. Yeah, I've been watching ARK. ARK is still on our watch list. How's the weekly on ARK? Yeah, so I'm watching this double bottom here. It's got a really clean double bottom. Could be a weekly bulldog forming. Beautiful doji down here too. Beautiful doji. Starting to bounce off support. If we can get above like 120 to 125, looks pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Looks like the most of the funds are accumulating for sure. Sounded like somebody just opened my door. Nasty little 5-minute Darth Maul here on Spy. Got about 10 minutes until the close. Not sure why it's Darth Mauling like this. There are no Fed meetings or anything today. How are altcoins doing? Are they finally starting to pick up now that Bitcoin is sideways? How is 1inch doing? I know we were watching 1inch. Topped out a little bit. Yeah, so a little toppy here. If it can break above like 360 and hold, looks pretty good. No, I've never tried mining. I'm not really that type. I can't stand working on like computers or anything like doing like literally something as small as replacing the video card scares the shit out of me. Like I feel like I'm gonna break everything that I touch. So I feel like if I tried to mine, I would like set my house on fire or something. I don't know. Like that's just the kind of person I am. I feel like everything I like if I try to touch something that's that mechanical, I'm gonna break it. I tried farming for a little bit. Didn't go too well. Thoughts on ADA? Let me take a look. Looks pretty much bottomed out on the daily. Been accumulating for what, 2 months, 3 months. Looks like it's right around the buy zone, maybe around the 382. Yeah, right around the buy zone here. So it bounced out of the buy zone, hanging out around the 382. If we can get above the 382 here, above like 231, this looks pretty good. But for now, it's just ranging. No matter what, it resets my settings every time, even when I save it. 88 is the most overrated coin. It was pretty big there for a while. Right around the BitMEX days. It was pretty big on BitMEX for a while. Kind of after BitMEX died was right around the time that 88 kind of died. Yeah, fortunate. It's kind of irritating sometimes that happens. You got to reset all your settings. One would say it's unfortunate. Man, Roku. We didn't lose a lot of money on Roku, but this trade is going to be the trade that haunts me for the rest of the year. This could have been one of our biggest gainers of the year. But I told myself, if it breaks 300, I'm getting out. So it broke 300. He started to have a lot of strong sell pressure, and then I sold, and it was pretty much the bottom. This was like the perfect example of like, oh, he sold and then pump it. So we got fucked on Roku. Now you're at 344. It's disgusting. We pretty much sold the bottom. Very, very disgusting. This wouldn't have been our biggest trade of the year, but it'd probably be top 5. If it hits our target, which was, what were we looking at? We were looking at like 350 to 360. This was just one of those times where I even said it in Discord. If you guys were in voice chat when I closed my trade, I was like, I hate closing trades when it's doing something like this. But it was doing one of those patterns where, let me make my thing white. It was doing one of those patterns where like it sells off, barely bounces, sells off, barely bounces, sells off. And it was just making new low a day, new low a day, new low a day, every single like 15 to 20 minutes. And if you break your rules and you hold on to shit like that, that can go on for like 2 days and you'll get wrecked. Like that thing could have went down to like 260 and we would have got buried. But I cannot stand closing trades when it's doing that because I know all it takes is a little bit of buyers and it goes all the way back up. And that's exactly what it did. So it was one of those times where like I know most of the time it's going to keep going down. So I'm going to close it. But it came back and bit us in the ass. They got us. But all right, guys, I'm going to call it on that. We'll be back to our like normal streams tomorrow. I know today we were focusing on the bot, but today was the launch of the bot. I'll probably be pulling this up a lot on stream moving forward, but we're not going to focus the entire stream on the bot moving forward. Maybe a little bit more so tomorrow because that is the last day of our little promotion. We're doing a 50% off your first month or your first year, depending on which plan you buy. I'll give you guys a link one more time. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know either in the comments or in Discord. I'm happy to help you guys out. For you guys that are Discord members, you guys are just going to keep access for the bot. I appreciate you guys helping me beta test it. So if you're a Discord member, any of our higher tiers, you will have access to the bot for no additional charge. And I don't plan on taking that away. So you guys are good to go. But here is the link one more time for you guys. If you guys want to check out the bot, feel free to check that out. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys. If you guys are in Discord, I'll be posting analysis later today. I'll be in the voice chat at 9:30 in the morning. So I'll see you guys then. If you guys are not in Discord, I'll catch you guys at 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow for our live stream.